Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in this morning on Friday for Lions Talk Live morning show. Joining us today, as you're probably seeing on your screen, is the Sarge, Tony Libretto. And Sarge, I think we got a big game setting up here between two teams that need wins badly. Lions coming out of the bye, need to keep momentum going, need to keep a little space between them and the Vikings. And here you got the Chargers that I think everybody thought Los Angeles would have a pretty good season. They got off to a little bit of a rocky start. Yeah, I get they lost two of their better receivers for the year. But Sarge, you got a big game coming up here. Tell me, how big of a game is it for Detroit?
I definitely think it's a game that they have to win. They traveling all the way to the West Coast has never really worked out great for us in the past. But obviously this isn't like the old teams. This is a new team. So getting there, it's kind of Goff's coming home too. Like he played in LA, obviously. So I think he's gonna be fine. And I think there a lot of the other players are gonna lean on him, about what to do, what not to do out there and stuff like that. I don't know how long I don't know how long they're gonna be before they go out there, but I think Goff is gonna be a key to this game. The Chargers, they're coming off a high. They're back to 500, so they're not a slouch team. It's important for them to win this game as well. So they're going to come out, guns blazing, and hopefully we can contain those pass rushers.
Before we get into it, as you guys all know, got some things got to do for the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Really trying to get, I think we're down to 35 more subscribers, or roughly right around there, to hit 4,200. So if you could really help us out by subscribing, if you haven't already, we're trying to hit that mark by kickoff on Sunday. Also, if you would take a second out of your day, hit that thumbs up button. Help us get content pushed out to a larger and larger audience. As the Sarge often says, hey, he wants to try to have Lions Talk Live go across the world. So do your part to help the Sarge out on his quest. Also, if you're considering buying property or selling property in the state of Michigan, give me a call, 269-998-2384. You can shoot me a text as well. So whatever works best for you, feel free to do just that. All right. So Sarge, let's get to a few comments here. Just kind of go through it, do the normal routine we got here. Mile Marker, good morning, Pride. Good morning to you too. Trey, go Lions, and greetings and salutations all. Lions #1 fan. Morning, everyone. Coach, have you watched some film on the Chargers? Any thoughts on what to expect? I did actually break down some film on them since I was had a little free time last night. And Sarge, I'm going to tell you what I got out of it, and you let me know what you think. And everyone in the comments section, go ahead and fire away as well. So I'd like to figure out what I can expect a team to do defensively to try to stop our offense. Start with that, then focus on our defense versus their offense. So I do believe they're going to play, as we talked about yesterday on the show, a lot of zone coverage. And I do believe they're going to try to bracket coverage St. Brown, leave Derwin in mostly what I guess you could say single coverage with Laporta, and then deal with people from there. Chargers aren't blitzing, from what I can tell, a whole lot this year. They're mostly relying on that front four. But Sarge, first couple of games of the year, we saw a lot of teams basically do this, where they bracket coverage St. Brown, and then as Laporta emerged and Reynolds emerged more and more, they got out of it. Do you think they're going to the Chargers are going to just try to take away St. Brown early and then see who can beat them the rest of the way?
Yeah, I think that's a good breakdown right there. St. Brown is, obviously our most reliable guy. JMO hasn't really stepped up yet, so they'll probably leave him in single cover. Obviously they're in zone, but they're not going to really concern themselves with JMO. I'm hoping that he comes out of that funk, but Reynolds is very reliable for us too, so we're not without weapons. I think having the new guy that we traded for, Donovan Peoples-Jones, it was, I think, perfect timing for him to come to us, because we had 2 weeks to prepare technically, or almost. And I think he's going to be a difference maker. He's a big body. He's fast. You know, and he grew up in Detroit. You know, he went to Cass Tech High School, played at U of M, comes back to Detroit. So I think he's really going to want to show up for this game as well, just to show, you know, hey, I'm excited to be here. So I think with them, you know, they're not going to blitz a lot. They don't need to, because they got Bosa on one side, they got Khalil Mack. I know Khalil Mack's getting a little bit older now, but it's still Khalil Mack. That's why they don't need to blitz a lot. On the flip side of that, I think their pass defense is still last in the league, or second to last. I don't know, after the Monday night game. So you know, they're gonna try and bracket St. Brown a lot, but hopefully these other guys can show up. Laporta, obviously, I think will show up because he has all year. And with Gibbs coming, or with Montgomery and Gibbs, Montgomery coming back, they're going to be able to split Gibbs out, maybe put Gibbs in the slot. You know, there's a lot of options now that we've basically got the entire team back together, other than the guys, you know, that have been out for the whole year.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're getting the band back together for sure.
Yeah.
So one thing I also noticed, sometimes they would send a fifth person after the opposing team's quarterback, and I know they've got, and again, I don't remember his name, the rookie kid who's doing pretty well. What I did notice also, Sarge, is a lot of their sacks. I mean, they've got some impressive sack totals, but it does seem like the vast majority of their sacks are coming against teams that have either lesser experienced quarterbacks or just bad offensive lines, sort of like the Jets. When they played teams that have more veteran leadership at the quarterback position and a stable offensive line, you know, Bosa kind of disappears a little bit, and I think you'd say Mack as well. What I do worry about with their defense appeared to be anytime a team started getting in the red zone, they shut down teams in the red zone. And that's obviously been a problem for Detroit this year, scoring when they get in there. I could not find any evidence of them really blitzing at all once they got into, say, the 20, the 15, or the 10-yard line. They drop everybody in the coverage, and they do have some taller guys out there, so that zone can be a whole lot more effective. It's been a problem for Detroit, but Sarge, if you got to call the shots here, do the X and O's, what are you doing to try to help Detroit score in the red zone against the Chargers?
I definitely think having Montgomery back is the key to that. You know, let him drop everyone back into coverage, because Montgomery can run up the middle. You know, our entire offensive line is back together. Basically, I know Big V is he's still hurt, but Glasgow and him are almost, you know, plug and play, right? So having Glasgow there, basically we have our starting 5 offensive line back. You know, Montgomery will be the key to that. You know, we were pretty good, not great, but pretty good in the red zone when Montgomery was playing. The last few games really shows how we are missing that power back, and Montgomery is going to be that guy. So I think the focus needs to be on Montgomery. Give it, you know, getting chunk yardage, getting 5-6 yards a run. You know, make them come up, make them get into the box instead of spreading out and dropping, you know, 7-8 guys into coverage.
Right. Okay, let's get into the comment sections a little bit more, Sarge, since we've definitely got a few this morning. John Dales, what do you got? Morning, new thumbnail. Yeah, we did, or I did change it up a little bit, try to make it a little bit more, I guess, jumper pop. So good eyes on noticing that. Ed, what do you got? Mr. Ed, good morning, Coach Dan. What did you think of the exciting Bears win last night? Yeah, I watched, I think, about through the third quarter, and I was like, this is enough of the excitement. I just can't stand it. You know, hey, you got 2 bad teams, and the good part, if you're a Bears fan, is that you're going to have some really high draft capital. I did think Sweat impacted their defense, which I think he would have just about any team he went to. The one thing I did have a problem with them getting Sweat is you're basically giving up a low-end first-round pick to acquire a guy who's 28, and now you had to sign him to a big deal, which I'm glad they were able to get it done. Man, I don't think they're going the right direction ultimately as a franchise. And Bryce Young, he's got some accuracy issues, I think. So, Sarge, what did you think of the game, or did you even watch it?
I watched a little bit. I think when I turned the channel, it was Carolina was up 10-3. So I turned it off and watch the Red Wings lose in overtime instead. So,
Okay.
so
Fair enough.
I wasn't real. I wanted to watch, but I was just like, this isn't fun.
It was not.
And I'm a huge Red Wings fan as well, so I'd rather watch them, even though they blew it in overtime. But yeah, Bryce Young. I think Carolina missed it. I mean, and I hate comparing rookie quarterbacks halfway through the year, but CJ Stroud is way ahead of Bryce Young. And I don't know if it's the scheme or the coaching, blah, 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 but CJ Stroud just looks like the better rookie. I hate saying that too, because he's from Ohio State, but and I mean, good for Tyson Bagent, the backup quarterback for the Bears, that rookie that's from a Division II school. I mean, he's made a lot of headlines, and we'll see. I mean, by the time we play them, I'm sure Justin Fields will be back too.
Yeah, I'm guessing Fields will be back next game because they more or less have a pseudo bye here. So, All right, what do we got? Spencer, what do we got? Greetings and salutations. I'm calling the Lions to win 28-17. Sarge, you got a score you want to throw out there at everybody?
Yeah, I can do that now. I think the Lions will score over 30. I know they don't really score a lot on the road, but like I said, Goff's used to being over there in LA. They basically play in a dome. It's not called a dome. I don't know what they call it, whatever their fancy new stadium is called. But I think that helps the Lions as well. A later time start will help them get a little more acclimated to being in a different time zone too, I think. So yeah, I'd say I'm gonna go 35-18.
All right, 35-18. I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right, Don, what do you got? I think Goff needs a big game. Thoughts? I'll say this. I think the opportunity is there for Goff to have an incredibly good game. If they're not getting home with that front four, and if they have to now send a fifth or a sixth person to try to displace Goff or get to him, I just think, man, what I could see out of that zone, if we hold up and give him 3 to 4 seconds on average, he's going to carve this team up pretty good. It's just, I get they're going to try to take away St. Brown. I get Derwin is an incredible safety, and that's who I'm anticipating they'll have on Laporta the vast majority of the time, trying to account for him on most routes. But I just think that opposite side of the field is going to be fairly open for someone, whoever it is, Khalif Raymond, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Josh Reynolds, whoever it is. I think they're going to have some real favorable areas to work in that zone. And I think, man, Goff, he's a vet. He's playing pretty good. I think he's going to be able to go off and maybe get 300, 350 yards. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I know their front four. I know they got some rushers, like that rookie that you were talking about. He's coming on pretty good.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but it's like Tui. I don't know. Anyway, I think the good thing is our offensive line is going to neutralize some of that. I think Sewell takes one of them out. I can't see a lot of plays there. Bosa and Mac are coming from the same side. If they are, hopefully we throw some tight end and running back help over there. But, Sewell, I think, is going to neutralize whoever's on his side of the field for any particular play. Decker, I know he's had a couple of struggles this year, but he's obviously he's probably a top 10 left tackle in the league. So, I think as long as, like you said, 3 or 4 seconds, which is a long time, but if even if Goff gets 3 seconds, he's going to get rid of the ball and do a lot of damage to that zone.
I agree with you. I think, the longer they can hold up, and especially with our offensive line, and start with the tackles, Ragnow is going to play. So I'm going to say Jonah Jackson's probably going to play. Glasgow's going to play. I mean, that's a pretty good offensive line. Do they have to give 4 to 5 seconds? Probably not. But the longer the Lions can give Goff protection, just like any zone, zones break down quickly because players can run beyond the boundaries of the zone. So the more you can force that thing contort, you've got some opportunities either for some wide open guys underneath, in the middle, or I know we're going to talk about him a ton, Jameson Williams. He could slice the zone pretty quickly because he starts getting past that first level of the secondary, and that means somebody who maybe wasn't supposed to account for him, which I think the Chargers are going to account for him, is left in single coverage with him. And
Mhm.
I just think Jameson Williams, you want an ideal setup for him, this might be it. All right, what do we got? James, good morning, Coach. Happy Friday, everyone. Go Lions. Same to you, James. Have a great one. Doug Laporte, good morning, all. And then good morning to you, Doug. Dr. D, hoping Goff has a big game. Good morning. Good morning to you, Dr. D, the infamous one. Dr. D, we need our old line to step up this game. Yeah, and I think just like we were saying, Sarge, just like you were pointing out, I do think they're going to have a huge opportunity. The line holds up well. Yeah, this game could get away from the Chargers pretty quickly. All right, Jess, how many sacks we get? Sarge, what do you think? How many? You going to call a prediction on the sack count for this week?
Ooh, I'd probably put the over under at 2.5, and I'd probably say we'd get 3. So, I'd love to see another game where we get 5 or 6 sacks, but right now it just doesn't seem like that's possible. I know we've had a couple of games where we've gone over that, but we've also had quite a few games where we've gotten 0. So,
right.
I don't know how the Chargers offensive line when I watched the game on Monday didn't seem great, but also the Jets defense is really good. So it's hard to, and I haven't watched a lot of their games to kind of have a comparison to that. So I hope we get more than 3, but I'd probably put it at 3.
One thing I will say from watching a couple of the Chargers games, I don't think they're bad on the offensive line. I just don't think they're good or great. So they're kind of average, I guess I would say. To me, I think a lot of it's going to come down to how Aaron Glenn's going to call the game. You and I have talked about it all season long. Aaron Glenn's run a funnel formation around mobile quarterbacks. Well, it doesn't really allow your D line to get after the quarterback because you're basically just asking, I want you to take those offensive linemen and push them back into the quarterback so they can't really have any escape routes between the tackles or guards and center. The other part of it, while you're not allowing them to run all over, you're giving them all sorts of time. And we saw in Baltimore and again with Seattle, among other opportunities where quarterbacks just, they have so much time to throw the ball. The Chargers wide receiver room has been definitely altered by a lot of injuries to Mike Williams and other guys. They still have Allen and they still have some weapons, just nobody who can really burn you down the field. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit more Blitzburg against them, assertive, maybe allow Herbert to scramble a little bit, but I'm probably okay with him occasionally running as long as we're getting a hat on him or hitting him while he's running. So we'll see what shakes out. I'm going to call 5 sacks just because I'm going to be a homer and hopeful. And James Houston's going to get 3 of them. No, I'm just from the sidelines. All right, Garland, morning to you too, Garland. Good to see you again. Bergs, morning, Duke Crew, and Dan the Man. All right, good morning to you too, Bergs. Hopefully you're having a great one. Doc Beck, who forgot to turn on the sun? Yeah, it is. It's that time of year, ain't it? Yeah, you get to sleep in a little bit more soundly. Don't forget to click the like button. Yeah, if you guys haven't yet subscribed or hit the like button, please consider doing so. JP, let's go. Let's go Lions. Let's go to you too, JP. Trey, grand rising to all. Let's start the weekend off right. Yeah, let's get this thing going. Man, I really think, Sarge, you get a win here Sunday, man, you could go on a little bit of a run here to really distance yourself from everybody in the NFC North and then try to keep in contention for the number 1, 2, or 3 seed. Assuming that we can come out and not shoot ourselves in the foot, how huge, in your opinion, would a win Sunday be for this team?
I definitely think it's going to be one of those games where if they lose, other than some of the fans out there saying same old Lions, that a lot of on national, the national media will probably be like, maybe they weren't who we thought they were, blah blah blah. And it does get back to the players and the coaches and the staff and everything that when everyone starts saying these guys aren't as good as we thought they were, that does have a little bit of effect on the players. That being said, a win here definitely is a statement for Detroit to really take a jump, have the rest of the NFC North looking up at us and going, we can't catch them. Hopefully that's what they think. But the next, the Bears are after this. Green Bay again after this. I think we got the Broncos in there. Like it's, after this game up until we play the Cowboys probably, or maybe Minnesota because, they got a little bit of a spark now, but there's not a lot of games after this one that should really be a challenge for Detroit. So winning this game tomorrow, or I'm sorry, on Sunday, going to 7-2, you've seen some of the top teams struggle. Like Dallas is looking beatable. 49ers, they're a mess right now for some reason. Who knows why? The Eagles are still rolling, but that can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the Eagles have played a lot of contested games, so at some point you think just law of averages. You've won a ton of close ones. At some point you're going to lose a few. Hey, we've got 35 likes. If you guys can help push it up to 50, let's try to get this content out to more and more people who haven't yet found Lions Talk Live. All right, Detroit D, good morning. One Pride, good morning to you too. Basil, morning, Dan. Have you ever tried Mountain Dew Code Red? It's actually pretty good. You know what? I've had a lot of people mention it to me. I have not tried it, so maybe today's the day.
Give it a shot.
What's that?
Give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot today. You know what, Basil? Just for you, man. I'm going to change things up. I'm going to get a little crazy with it. I'm going to try some Code Red. So, all right. Mile marker. Hey, Sarge. Good to see you. So,
good to see you.
One funky, Doc Beck, it's my fault. All right. Wilson, aloha Lions fans. Wilson, yeah, that's right. You're over in Hawaii and it's early, like 1:30 your time. So just a little FYI, the GF just landed in Hawaii, boy, around 11 p.m. my time. So whatever that is your time. Not gonna do the math on that.
That's right. Dan's living the bachelor life this weekend, y'all.
That's right. Yeah, I got the place to myself and the dogs.
Bring the keg.
Right. All right. It's not a morning without Donkey Kong jumping in and saying Super Bowl or bust. So good morning to you too. All right, Adam. Good morning to the Dew crew. Even though I'm a Pepsi guy, Pepsi makes Mountain Dew. Just a little inside information there. But yeah, I get it. Some people like other things than Mountain Dew. As crazy as that is to me. All right, Doc Beck, Chargers record makes no sense. All that talent, and that's Doc. That's a good point. Sarge, what do you think? I mean, they've got a pretty good quarterback. They've got one of the better receivers in the league. They got easily one of the best safeties in the league, and they've got 2 or 3, maybe you can say 4 guys who are legitimate pass rushers. What's oh man, I almost forgot about the running back Eckler.
I was gonna say, don't forget Eckler.
Yeah. What do you make of this? Is it just bad luck? They got off to a bad start, or they just the dysfunctional team?
It just seems you're right on the ladder there. When I went to the Monday night game against the Raiders, after the game at our hotel, we were up all night long hanging out with a couple of Raiders fans that were from Oakland, and they hate that the Raiders are in Vegas, but that's beside the point. Right. They said and this was right before McDaniels got fired. They said they have the worst coach in the league, and I asked them who the second worst coach in the league was, and they said Staley. Like they were, and obviously them being on the West Coast, they see a lot more of that stuff than we do over here. A lot, Chargers, obviously, with the Raiders being the same division. So maybe it's the coach. I mean, it seems like the last couple of years, the Chargers are this is the Chargers year. This is the Chargers year. And it's never their year. I think they got, they made the playoffs last year, but they got beat in the first round.
Right.
And they made the playoffs because of, a tie or something. I don't remember what it was, a crazy ending at the last week of the season. So, maybe it's the coach there, because they do have the talent, even with them losing some wide receivers. They might have missed on their wide receiver they took in the first round. We'll find out this, that Johnston. It seems like he's been having a lot of drops. And I don't think, and he's not fast. He was never fast in college. So like you said earlier, they don't really have any burners as far as I know. So I think it's just a disorganized, it's like having Matt Patricia coaching this team that we have this year. We'd probably wouldn't be 6-2 right now. We'd probably be 2-6 with all the talent we have, because he'd find a way to blow it.
Well, let's also be fair. if Patricia was still here, then you would have what's his name still as the general manager, Bob Quinn, and
Yeah.
none of this younger talent would
We
be
probably
here.
wouldn't have this talent. We probably would have
Ooh.
drafted really badly.
Yeah, we probably would have traded four first round picks for Trey Wilson or something like that.
Right.
But hey, it is what it is. I do think I agree with you that coaching makes a huge impact, and not saying that Antonio Pierce is the second coming of Bill Belichick or something, but you just look at how well the Raiders played after they got rid of McDaniels, and
right. Yeah.
I think it's almost like from a player perspective, you took the backpack off their back. Now they're free to run, and they you can see the energy in the room. So,
and, I think part of that too is it's always exciting when you get something new, right? Like and he's the new. I mean, I know he's been with the team the whole year, but he's the guy in charge, so he's bringing new energy, excited energy. I'm the guy in charge now. This is awesome. I'm excited. So that rubs off on your players as well. That's why our coach is so great at getting his players motivated, because he comes in like that every day. He drinks his 200 gallons of coffee every morning. coffee like me, coffee.
Right.
But and so when you bring in an interim head coach in the middle of the year, even last year, the Raiders, when they fired whoever and brought in another interim coach, because this seems what they do every year, the team actually played well the rest of the year, despite the issues that they had with Derek Carr with the last couple of games or whatever. But so I think part of that's that the rest of the year will probably show more of who the Raiders really are.
Right. All right, let's get back into the comments section. Wilson, what do we got? Go ahead and play that zone. Gibbs and Monty gonna eat that up. Yeah, I agree. And I think if their rush doesn't get home against our if we block them out, we could put up some real numbers here. All right, Jaleesa, first time subscription, even though everyone that knows Diet Coke is shots fired. Ding, 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 ding. Thanks you for that. And good morning from North Dakota. All right, good morning to you. Hopefully you're having a great one, man. We're getting people from all over. Like we've had a couple people from China, the UK, Philippines. We got the Wilson from Hawaii. Yeah, the fan base is expanding apparently. All right, Ed, watch some Chargers games. They have a great 4-man pass rush. I agree with that. Can Goff be more of a mobile QB? I don't know if that's quite Goff's strength. I mean, but let's also be fair. He's had some runs. It's just not something he prefers doing. I won't be surprised if we leave in an additional blocker or just ask the running backs to chip a lot on their way out just to try to help augment that defensive line of theirs. Their defensive line, I would compare a lot to our 2014 line when we had Sue and Van Bosch and all those guys. So what teams, if I remember correctly, what a lot of teams did against us is they would send the backs out, but they would specifically chip or bump one of the pass rushers, and they try to keep everything to real quick, 2-3 step drops, ball's gone. So after a while, that pass rush starts getting frustrated and they start quitting because you go through a quarter or two of basically you can't even really get near the quarterback because the ball's coming out so fast. It's just, human nature. You get frustrated. Sarge, if we're going to put you in charge of the offense, what are you doing to offset this Chargers pass rush?
What do you? Well, I mean, you got to have a successful run game. That's the only way to keep them, keep them honest. Goff, I lean on Goff this entire week. I'm whispering in Goff's ear, get rid of the ball fast. Get rid of the ball fast,
right?
Because he's very good at reading defenses. I think Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in the league at reading what what's out there. He's got a great offensive line, but he also is smart on the field. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Like I know he's had a couple of interceptions this year, whatever every quarterback does. But it's his ability to read the defense pre-snap, get into his drop back. Cause you can see a lot of times that teams blitz on us, they don't get home. It's usually when they're just rushing the 4 that they can get home sometimes, or if they bring up a 5th guy. So I'm whispering in his ear to get rid of the ball fast. Laporta is going to be out there. Gibbs is going to be out there. Obviously St. Brown's going to be out there in those short to intermediate zones. So, and once we call a seven-step drop back for him to gun it downfield to maybe Peoples Jones or to JMO, then we keep a tight end in, or obviously keep a running back in on those plays to hit someone coming up the middle or around the outside. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Telling Goff to get rid of the ball quick.
All right. Well, I'm okay with that. James, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Happy Friday. Looking forward to 7-2, and I think there's a real possibility for that. So good call on that, James. All right, Steve, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Rumor control has it that Ben Johnson may be the future coach of the LA Chargers. Is there any truth to this? And can we expect Johnson's best play calling this weekend? Yeah, I don't think, just for tampering reasons, nobody's contacting anybody at this point because, unlike the sign stealing debacle that's going on in the entire Big Ten, apparently, I would say this: pro teams are very leery about stuff like that because if you get busted, you just lost draft capital, and nobody wants to risk losing a first, second, or third round pick. So, Steve, to your point, do I think he'll be a good fit there? I do. Do I think it's going to be a potential option for him? Yes, I do. But do I think anybody from the LA Chargers is reaching out and having any kind of conversations at this point? I would be dang surprised just for the reason I mentioned. Sarge, and Ben Johnson looks like he's a pretty good option for some teams. Are you willing to, potentially sacrifice a first through fourth round pick to have a conversation with him at this point?
Oh, absolutely not. No, draft capital is like it's gold. You can't mess around with that. Obviously rumors can be spread by anybody, right? Like, if the national media, or people on, the football shows are talking about it, that's one thing. But for, them to actually be speaking to him, obviously is a cardinal sin at this point of the season. So, but that being said, this is probably his last year with Detroit. Let's be real, and it doesn't matter how much money we throw at him. It's about him wanting to be a leader, a head coach. And, he already pulled his name out of the ring last year because of what he believed in here in Detroit, but that's not going to keep happening every year. And as long as we remain, and that's what happens with good teams. You lose your coordinators a lot. They all go to other teams. Eagles lost both their coordinators last year. Belichick has had 20 coordinators go to other teams. They've all been terrible as head coaches, as McDaniels shows you. But that's what happens when you have a string of good years. They start plucking from your system, and you gotta have the next guy up, which we've already talked about. I can't remember the coach's name off the top of my head, but we've already got a guy that's going to be replacing Ben Johnson in our staff right now. So LA is probably going to be a good place for him because he's probably a better coach than Staley, as my Raiders friends have told me.
Yeah, I think we're probably on borrowed time with him, Aaron Glenn for sure. So see what shakes out. But I would, Steve, I guess the long answer is I don't think anybody's trying to talk to him now. But they may have reached out to his representation, say something like, hey, it's the end of the season. If he's open to it, we'd like to have a conversation with him. That's probably about the extent of it. All right, Wilson, the wife is a Bears fan. Oh, boy. She knows her place in this relationship. Oh, boy. I'm glad you guys are having that because that would actually be pretty fun in a relationship. All right, Michael Jordan, good morning, Lions faithful. Good morning to you, MJ. Mile marker. If he's having a good game after being out, Monty will force them to take the run game seriously. Yeah, and I think we've talked about this week, I think there's a strong possibility we could see some split backfields where potentially Gibbs and Montgomery are out there at the same time, almost like the old 21 personnel or pro formations that we used to see predominantly. I do think there's also going to be situations where we have Gibbs lined up out wide in 13 personnel, so basically as a receiver, either in the slot or out wide, and then based on whoever the defense puts on him or to account for him, motion them inside. So, Sarge, do you think we'll see some trickeration or split backfields with our two backs?
I definitely think we're going to see Montgomery and Gibbs on the field at the same time. Not every play, obviously. You want to keep them fresh, but Yeah, split Gibbs wide, and with that, maybe we see a handoff to Montgomery, and then he throws it back across the field to Gibbs for a screen the other way. That's kind of tricks that I'd like to see. I definitely think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 trick plays this game because we've got everybody back, basically on offense,
Right.
healthy and everything. So I think he's going to open up the playbook and make a huge splash.
I agree with that. So, all right, back to the comments. Ryan, from one vet to other vets, we salute you, Sarge. Hey, there you go, Sarge.
Thank you.
Wilson, Lions offense. I agree. He's going to be in control. Johnny 77, 44-17 Lions. Let's go. Johnny, you pull off that correct score prediction, I'm sending you a Mountain Dew. Michael Goff could get 500 yards plus with everyone coming back off the injury pool. Could he get it? Yeah. Boy, passing for 500 yards, that might be something. But could the Lions get 500 yards of total offense? I think there's a real opportunity against this team. Again, it's just going to come down to the blocking and keep people off Goff. All right, MJ again agrees. Sarge, 31-10. Lions put on a clinic. Man, I like some of these scores. The Grit Stop Detroit. Good morning. Love the show. Always do watch it every morning. Dan, and I gotta say, I got a little bold prediction that there will be more Lions fans in the stands than there will be Charger fans. Ooh. Sarge, the Lions fan base has traveled pretty well this year.
Yeah.
The Grit's got a good point. You think there's going to be, a huge amount of Honolulu blue, because I get the Chargers have blue too.
Yeah, so, they're baby blue or however, powder blue. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, right. So they're going to LA. The saying goes, no one that lives in LA is from LA, right? So I think it's, I think they're going to have a big turnout because there's going to be a lot of people on the West Coast that came from Michigan or came from around here, grew up Lions fans, whatever, that are out there. It's just kind of nature of the beast. A lot of people move out west or whatever. So I think a lot of the people that live in those states surrounding California and in California are going to show up for this game. So I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if there will be more fans. I would love to see more fans, but even if it's 50-50, it's going to be, it'll be fun to watch.
I agree. And yeah, I think there's going to be a strong representation of Detroit fans. And, part of it, I do believe is, this is a result of buildup from, 20, 30 years of waiting for a moment like this. And now that you've got it, you've got people jumping, chomping at the bits to get out there and support Detroit and travel and just take in the moment. All right, Derek, how important is it for J-Mo to have a breakout performance? I talked about it a little bit yesterday's video. Obviously, that was the thumbnail or the topic for it. As I watched some of the video of him last year versus this year, and then even in college. And Sarge, in my opinion, I get this kid's under a lot of fire, but I will say this. It's clear what he wasn't taught in college when you watch it in the little bit of film I could get on YouTube or wherever from Ohio State. And then watching what, Saban just said at Alabama, hey, we're not even going to try to run this guy in different routes. We're going to basically just restrict him to 3 different routes.
Yeah.
And then in Detroit last year, he got a handful of games in, but I'm seeing a lot of growth and development from this kid. But what do you think? Is it just important for him from a psychological standpoint to come out and just have, 3, 4, 10 catches or something? Or is he going to be okay just kind of slowly progressing?
Yeah, he's just in a tough situation being that he was a first round pick. Everyone expects the most. Everyone expects him to be Jamar Chase or Waddle or those guys. This guy came from and I know he played with Waddle. He played with Smith out of that with the Eagles. Actually, Smith won the Heisman the year they were both, before they both came out to the draft or the year later. So yeah, I like him still. Like, I'm not going to give up on him because he's still on the Lions team. So I want him to do well, but he's definitely got, missing the 4 games he did this year. Last year doesn't count. I wasn't expecting anything from him. He's coming back from major knee surgery. This year I expected a lot. And then when we lost him for 4 games, he wasn't allowed to be around the facility. He was, I mean, I'm sure he still had a playbook and he could do his practices on the side or, on the side in his own gym or what, wherever. Right. But it's just taking him a little bit longer to get there. And I think even if I'd like to see him get just 5 or 6 catches in a game. And I don't even care if it's, if he gets 5 catches for 50 yards, I'll take that as a win. Right now he's just and that's what, I'd like to see him in the slot. Herman Moore had a big thing about it this week, talking about Jameson Williams in particular, saying, let's move him around the field, get him, and sounds like he's been talking to him and working with him too. So
right.
I think he'll come around. And if he doesn't, then, excuse me, then, it is what it is. But, let's, we don't throw him the ball very often either, but that could be just because he's not running the route right or whatever, or Goff doesn't trust him yet. It could be a lot of things, but maybe start getting the ball to him a little bit more, just in different routes, short to intermediate. Don't always think we just need to hit. He doesn't have to be a home run hitter every time we throw him the ball.
No, and I think that's the one thing that I'm noticing more and more with him is, I talked about it a little bit earlier, is you could see he's never really, in my opinion at least, been taught how to, get in and out of breaks, run variations of routes and progressions, where you're starting to see that more and more. And I think you watch his footwork, you watch his hips, you watch his shoulders as he gets on it, in and out of routes. He is progressing. If St. Brown wasn't on this team, I think he would be getting a lot more reps in that particular role, and somebody who can now take the top off of defense as well. But one of the things I think slowing down his progression, Lions have other options. I mean, St. Brown, Reynolds, Raymond, Laporta. There's a lot of guys out there who are already at a pretty high level that are going to get open, and Goff's going to hit them. So I just want to keep seeing growth throughout the rest of the year. Yeah. And as long as we do that, I'm happy with the kid, because while all those other guys are great, he does have a skill set or an athletic component that none of them have. And it's just maybe 2 other guys in the NFL have what he has. So take your time and grow him. All right, let's see. The Grit. Lions win 37-17. J-Mo gets 2 tutties. I think a lot of Lions fans would erupt if he gets 2, and in a good way, by the way.
Absolutely.
Lions pride. All right, Lions pride. I'll take that. Yeah, we all got it. Ryan, I'm pretty sure the Lions have never beat the Chargers on the road. Will history repeat, or is this or do these Lions change history? I'm gonna go with change history. Sarge, what do you got?
Yeah, definitely change history.
All right, I'm glad to see you're not Debbie Downer. All right, TK, good morning, Lions people. Do you think we will see some 2-back sets with Gibbs and D-Mo, or line up Gibbs in the slot with D-Mo in the backfield? Yeah, the answer is yes, and I think you're spot on with that, TK. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the upcoming weeks, where basically you're going to have St. Brown as a receiver, Gibbs as a receiver, Laporta, and then whoever they put on the other side, whether it's Jameson Williams, Reynolds, or whoever, Donovan Peoples-Jones. So yeah, I think you're spot on with that. All right, MJ, what do you got? Just means Reynolds and Raymond get these 100-yard games. Yeah, they might. I mean, we're going to have some opportunities this week to be able to throw that ball around and get some big chunk plays. Don Burr, hey, all right, good to see you in the morning. Just watching a playback Chargers podcast. Basically, they don't respect our secondary. Nobody does, man, but that's okay. We can step up and prove them wrong. I'm okay with that. All right, Johnny, what do you got? If J-Mo hits his routes, quote, so fast, Goff could get the ball out fast and beat the rush, an advantage Ben Johnson should exploit. I mean, there would be some opportunities for them to hit some shots with J-Mo, and not just deep, but there's going to be opportunities, I think, for us to hit a lot of different people. Iceberg Slim, I'm guessing you stayed up a little bit last night to watch your boys. I believe Iceberg is a Bears fan, but he's got Detroit 17, Chargers 31. Ooh, somebody's not drinking Mountain Dew this morning, clearly. The Grip, it's got 8 sacks for Detroit. Now, we get that. That would be impressive. Don Iceberg Slim, you're a Bears fan. You barely just beat the Panthers. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. All right. Yep. All right. Moving on. Moving on. We're in the Chargers have only lost one that wasn't close, but they are near dead last in pass defense and are missing their second and third receivers from injuries. Chargers win only with our help. Yeah, I think if we don't turn the ball over a ton or just totally go ineffective on offense, then I think we do have a good chance to win.
Yeah, that is one good thing the Chargers are good at. Their turnover differential, I think they're second in the league. You know, they don't turn the ball over, and they get a lot of turnovers on the defensive side. So we definitely have to, we won our last game, giving up, losing the turnover battle. We can't do that with this team.
No, I agree. We got to make sure that, if we get the ball, we're not giving them short fields. All right, Randy, greetings. One pride from Charlevoix County, cloudy and 38. What do you believe Donovan Peoples-Jones' role will be this week? I think he'll be out there. He'll probably be what used to be called the X receiver, so out wide. That's probably what I think they've got in store for him. But how many reps is he going to get? How well does he know the playbook? That I can't tell you. Maybe he knows it all already. But I'm going to say he's going to get 15 to 25 snaps, and 25 would be quite a bit for his first game. But we'll see what shakes out. All right, Bergs, I want to win this game so we can shut the negative nannies up. I would agree with that. Yeah, win here would do a lot for that. Hey, Phil, good morning. And he's giving a shout out to the Sarge. Pound the drums. Good morning, fellas. So you thinking use the pass to set up the run? How many yards does Gibbs get? I'm going to say yes. I would like us to set, do a lot of play action on first down, keep the rush off balance a little bit. Sarge, how many yards do you think Gibbs gets?
Well, now that we got Montgomery back, I think if we're talking just rushing yards, I'd be happy with him getting 50 or 60 yards. You're talking all, scrimmage yards. I think it's a good game for him to get over 100 because Montgomery's back.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'm going to go with Gibbs. Total yards, I'm going to have him get 85. Yeah, so we'll go with that. Don Bergs, they will never shut up. I agree with that. Thomas, do you guys recall when the Chargers open with their schedule? Time for J-Mo to pay back. Yeah, when they kind of took shots at him. Yeah, because they were. It is what it is. Maybe this is where he jumps out and says, "Hey, thanks for the extra motivation." Greetings and salutations, Danny. All right, greetings to you too, Phil. Ryan Sergeant, who's your top 5 Lions players of all time?
Oof, man, I'd have to think about that, but in no particular order, I guess. Growing up when I did or have, I guess I'm still around. Shoot, maybe obviously Barry's up there. I'll definitely put him up there. Chris Spielman, he was the man when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So I liked him a lot. He might not be on everyone's top 5 list, obviously. And I can't go back, I never watched Lem Barney play. I wasn't around then or any of those guys. So I'm not really gonna go, that far back. Only I'm just using my lifetime, I guess. But
30 when he made his first Pro Bowl?
Yeah, right. I don't. So up and through the teams, man, I love me some Robert Porcher, so I'll probably put him in my top 5. I don't know how many I've named yet, but I just love those teams from the 90s. Herman Moore, I'll put him in there over Calvin Johnson.
All right, so that's a good list, man. Some good people on there. All right, Dano, yes, Phil. I knew what you meant, man. All right, J.I. Goff will have family and friends in the crowd, so that's incentive to ball out. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Don Burt, Matt Eberflus, worst coach in the league by a mile. Yeah, there's probably a growing consensus towards that.
Yeah, I'll go with that one too.
Phil, Sarge, for keeping Micro Mike healthy in Iraq. There you go. All right. Fletch lives. Good morning from the swamp. Do you see a letdown going out west? I don't, especially coming out of the bye. I think, yeah. And like somebody just pointed out, with Goff heading back home, you got a little bit more incentive there. Yeah. They also, probably the coaches are aware this is a big game for bragging rights, for proving yourself or whatever. Sarge, what do you think? Is this a possible slip up game for us?
Well, I mean, if they do end up, if the Lions end up losing, does that mean it was a letdown? I mean, we are going to LA and facing a good team, so I don't know if it's so much a letdown if we lose. It'll be disappointing, obviously, but I don't think it's. I don't think it would be because of the bye or anything else. It was just that we lost to a better team that day. And is the swamp? Is he in Washington D.C. or where is he?
That I guess he'll have to say.
Where you at, Fletch?
All right. So hey, we got it looks like 55 likes. If you guys can, let's see if we can push it up to 60 or 70. If you haven't yet, hit the like button or subscribe. That would be great. All right, Gary, what do you got? Good morning. How about merchandise? All right. How about Duke Crew shirts with a Circle K shoulder patch and Dan's favorite quote on the back? Let's see what shakes out. Man, they are coming out after me today. All right. That's actually not a bad idea. I know when we get to 10,000 subscribers, I've told you guys all, we do have some providers, including one of the heads of what used to be Kellogg. They said they will send us a bunch of products, food, for people to eat. So the more you guys subscribe, the more you help push towards that goal. We'll have a tailgating event at Ford Field. Whether it's this year or next year, I mean, that's really comes down to the subscribers. Mm-hmm. I'd probably prefer doing it a little bit earlier in the year when it's probably better weather, but we'll try to get some, to your point, Gary, we'll try to get some merchandise for people to wear, a nice tailgate, some food, beverages and stuff, non-alcoholic beverages. Sorry, guys. Can't be responsible for that. All right, Ryan, even though this year has been great, 45 years of SOL, creeps in my mind. Chargers, 27, Lions 17. It's hard to get past that mental hurdle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fletch lives. If this is possibly Johnson's last year, why didn't the Lions go all in and trade deadline? I think it's just, and sorry, you can offer your thoughts, but I think it's just Brad Holmes wants to try to. One, they're very particular about who they bring onto the team from a personality standpoint. Two, I don't think they want to give up draft capital in almost any situation. I mean, they really value that as gold because you get to bring in a younger player, the type of personality you want, the contracts that are favorable to you. Sarge, what do you think?
I think I just take it back to what I said earlier. Successful teams lose coordinators. It's inevitable that Ben Johnson's probably not going to be, and obviously that's still my opinion. He might still be with the Lions next year, but I just feel like if I was gambling, I'd put my chips all in on him leaving for a head coach job. But you don't sacrifice your franchise for an offensive coordinator. Is that, I don't know if I'm saying it how I should be saying it, but you don't want to, because we're not win now. We're not win now yet. We're having a great year, but it's not. They're not pushing all their chips in because like the Rams did a couple years ago because they're not there yet. If we do make a run, get to the Super Bowl, that'd be great. That means we're ahead of the program. So, going all in at the trade deadline this year because we might lose our offensive coordinator next year. I don't think it would make sense to me.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're still trying to build a sustainable franchise for not just this year, but further years. All right. One funky. I think Atlanta is a better place for Ben Johnson. Just my opinion, though. Offensively, they only need a QB, and the Lions could trade them. Either Goff or Hooker. Sarge, what do you think? Is that a better place for Ben Johnson, and would they be willing to give up one of our two quarterbacks?
Well, I don't know if Atlanta's gonna, he might be a better fit there, but their coach probably isn't going anywhere after this year. They're not doing too bad with with kind of nobody at quarterback. I don't want to say Desmond Ritter's a nobody, but he's not great. I don't think he's playing now. I think the other guy is starting ahead of him. So I don't think that's a more likely place for him to go. Better place, maybe. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons there. They've got a tight end that they're just not using right for some reason. Year after year, Kyle Pitts just doesn't get the passes that he should be getting. They've got what is it, Landon? No, the wide receiver. What's that?
Yeah, I keep going.
Yeah. Obviously you having Bijan Robinson there. They've got all the pieces except maybe a quarterback that Ben Johnson could really do some damage if he was the head coach down there. But I just don't think Atlanta's going to get rid of Arthur Smith just yet. And with us trading Goff for Hooker, again, I don't want to say that's a good idea. So let's just keep it at that for now, because we don't even know what Hooker's got yet, right? Like, why would we trade someone that we never even put on the field?
Yeah, it's we'll see what happens after the end of the season. All right, Thomas Jeffries, how the Chargers offensive line? It's not bad, it's not great. I think it's kind of average. I do think we can get home on them if we are aggressive with it. So we'll see if we blitz or not. All right, answer 14. Good morning, Dan and Sarge. Looking for a solid injury-free win in San Diego. Well, I mean, that would be great if we can get out of there without any significant injuries. Mm-hmm. Phil, Sarge, what do we do with J-Mo?
I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but like I said, Herman Moore said it better than I did. Move this guy around, give him opportunities, put him in the slot, do a wide receiver screen, anything other than just send him out on post or out route or not out, streaking down the field. Yep. Maybe build his confidence by showing him that we have trust in him by giving him a 5-yard slant or, something that, we haven't done yet as far as I know. Maybe this is the game. Maybe we get up 14 points early and we go, J-Mo, it's going to be your show. And we're going to start gunning the ball to you no matter where you are on the field.
Flea flicker.
Flea flicker. So, I'm not going to, it's the second year in the league. Last year was really nothing for him because he missed out on so much. And then I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I mean, we have him at least 2 more years, right? And maybe a 5th year if we, pick up that option since he was a first-round pick. So, next year's his year. Let's go with that.
Fair enough. All right. Dr. D, hit them likes. Yeah, if you guys can, looks like we're at 63 now. So if you guys can try to push us to 70 or 80, that'd be super awesome. Gary, Chargers win this week. Sorry, 50 plus years of Lions fans who have been institutionalized. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like a loss coming. We'll see what shakes out. I mean, this would be a team, Gary, that could do it to us, but I'm still hopeful that, we carve them up a little bit. All right, Fletch lives 27-23 Lions. Bergs, thank you for your service, Sarge. Go Lions. Dr. D, Hallelujah Blue. Ryan, the Chargers have something we don't, a Super Bowl appearance. This is also true. Hey, but let's not forget, as crazy it is the last 50, 60 years with the Lions, realize the Detroit Lions are still like the number 15 or 17 most championship victories in the league's history. So something to consider. That means, man, as bad as we've been, there's been some people worse than us.
Right on.
Brent, good morning, Coach Sarge, Do Crew. Lions roar Sunday, 34-17. I'll take that, Brent. I'll take that big time. TK, well, you guys answered my exact question before I got it concerning split backfield. Thank you. No problem. Anytime you've got a question, man, just fire it in there. Fake. All right, what do you got? Karen and Glenn has no chance of coming up with a defensive game plan against Chargers. He's he's a person. All right, we'll go with that. I'm hoping he does, though. So let's go with that. Let's hope he does. Ryan, will there be more Lions fans there than Chargers fans? That's a pretty good question. What do you think, Sarge?
I'm still going with maybe 50-50. You know, like I said, LA is a place where everyone moves to, so no one lives there that is from there or whatever. Right. So yeah, it'll be nice to see if there's more fans there. You know, if we were playing the Rams, there'd probably be more Rams fans there, but Chargers, sure. You know, I think we got a good chance.
Okay. Let's see. Fake is back at it. Karen Glenn makes Matt Patricia look like a genius. Karen Glenn a bum. Fake, tell us what you really think. Come on. What is your honest opinion of Aaron Glenn?
Wow.
Chargers 45, Lions 10. Man, I hope you are wrong, my friend. Phil, Jamo's next contract might be a bargain. He may need 5 years to complete. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I know I say that too much, and now you guys got me thinking about it. All right, Matthew Perry, doing have another sack this week. It could happen. I mean, I think we're going to have to blitz to get home just because our front four. Well, I think we all agree Hutchinson's pretty good. Lee McNeil, he's had flashes, but he's been inconsistent. And as far as the other two in the front four, we've gotten almost nothing from them on a regular basis.
Don't exist.
Yeah, they're just two dudes out there occupying space.
Two dudes.
So I think we are going to have to blitz. Randy Parsons, looking forward to seeing Nowatzki play. He could help Hutch. He could be the help Hutch needs. We'll see.
Hopefully, someone's got to be there.
Yeah, because right now it ain't been there. All right, let's see. Don Burr, Fake Neil. Oh boy, here we go. All right, moving on. Here we go. Phil, will we see Jamo in the slot and Gibbs in the back? Yes, I would say yes. What do you think?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So we've crossed an hour. It's after 8 o'clock. I got to get ready for work and to go get it due. So I'm going to have to hop on out of here. I know Sarge has got to get some stuff done today too. So Sarge, I know you wanted a moment. So
yeah,
here you go.
So want to say happy Marine Corps birthday to all the men and women out there that were in the Marine Corps. Before I was in the Army National Guard, I did time in the Marine Corps in the 90s. So I'm going to be celebrating the Marine Corps birthday with some adult beverages later. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. So make sure you guys all go out there and, thank somebody if you want to, or however you want to do, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go celebrate today with a whole bunch of guys that I've been with. So just make sure you remember that tomorrow when you're out and about.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you for tuning in this morning. We'll be back on the air tomorrow. As you guys know, 7 to roughly 8 o'clock, both Saturday and then obviously game day Sunday. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to get to 4,200 by kickoff on Sunday. And if you would, before you take off and we conclude the broadcast, go ahead and hit that like button. Otherwise, we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.